What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the land of Reckless Logic. Please make sure you guys pop that like button, hit the subscribe button, and please smack that notification bell so do not miss any of my posts from me. So just so you guys know what I will be talking about today, how are you guys doing? What's going on? Let me get myself together over here, guys. So just so you guys are aware, this is going to be more of a serious type of live. Yes, I really try to incorporate fun things, serious things, and really try to get into the tea. But I will be talking about let me look at my thing. Let me look at this real quick. In the meantime, y'all make sure you guys thumbs up this video. Please thumbs up. It really does help with the algorithm. Let me see this bad boy, because girl, I had a whole bunch of things I was going to talk about. Okay, so yes, I will be talking about Real Housewives of Potomac and their colorism issue. And I also will be talking about DJ Twitch, and I also will be talking about Kalani. And I know for a fact I probably will be cursing, so let me just run my fair use and my explicit content disclaimer. Let's get straight into it, y'all.
I'm in danger. I'm in danger. I'm in danger.
Disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, always constructive. Comment down below. News reporting, I guess that's what we doing. Teaching, hopefully y'all learn something. Scholarship, we ain't got no money. Education and research, so you can get a nasty piece of degree, okay? Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Alrighty. So JT, how are you doing today? Am I glitching? Because it looks kind of glitchy on my end. Let me make sure. Am I glitching, JT? Baby. Am I glitching? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay, it looks good on this end, but I already know how it is on other people's end. It can be all over the place. Let me see. Baby. Let me get myself together. Okay, so first thing I will be talking about, yes, I want to get straight into, is all good? Okay, it's all gonna get like that. What's going on, everybody? Please make sure you guys thumbs up. So first things first, I will be talking about the Real Housewives of Potomac. If you guys do not know exactly what show that is a show, a franchise that's on Bravo, where you have rich housewives where they go around, they go on trips, and just about they throw shade, they argue. That's just about the brunt of the show. But however, as of recently, the all-black cast for Real Housewives of Potomac has gone under fire because of their allegations of being colorist. Now, here's the thing, a little backstory. Now, the reason why people are having these speculations of that specific franchise or that specific show of the Real Housewives of Potomac actually being colorist is because there seems to be a difference from when dark-skinned castmates may do the exact same thing that the more lighter or fairer tone skin castmates do, but they always end up having two completely different responses. So let's get into it. So there are two castmates that actually was going to be a plethora of castmates that actually come up now, but however, two other castmates is Robin Dixon and Gizelle Bryant. Now, Robin Dixon I really don't know too much about Robin Dixon's background, but Gizelle Bryant is actually, I believe, the ex-wife. I believe she's the ex-wife of the pastor, Jamal Bryant. Okay, but here's the thing. Now it says, by the way, y'all, this is courtesy of the Jasmine brand, which I love so very much. What's going on, y'all? Y'all make sure you guys thumbs up this video. Now it says, Gizelle Bryant and Robin Dixon respond back to colorism comments. And I quote, it says, social media does not pay us, so I don't pay attention to it. Now, here's the thing. Now, when people were giving back backlash, they were basically, hey, what's going on, Arshawn? So when people was giving back backlash, they were basically calling them colorists, basically trying to have a big, larger conversation about the difference between Wendy, which is another cast member. She's a dark-skinned woman. And also when it comes down to Candace, which is another dark-skinned woman, when it seems like whenever they're doing something, and then when you have somebody like Mia, who's most definitely on the lighter tone when it comes down to skin complexion, and also when it comes down to Robin and Giselle, etc. There's obviously a distinction or a difference when it comes down to the reaction of, oh my God, you did this over here, but yet we're gonna pacify you guys over here. So that's the reason why everybody's in an uproar. So now, Robin Dixon and Giselle, they were actually on, I want to say, the Sherri Shepard show. So this is what they had to say. I'm actually gonna play the audio. Let me get myself together, because baby. Actually, let me see. Can I read this? Okay, girl.
But then some people have been criticized.
Let me go to bye bye.
Now I know it's even online. People, they love you, but then some people have been criticizing you. They say it's bullying or colorism. What would you say to that? You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion of us, but you know, that's social media.
Yeah.
I always feel like social media does not pay us, so I don't pay attention to it.
I'm glitching over here.
The minute it pays us, I'll be all in it. But until then, it's just foolishness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I'm not perfect, and I don't pretend to be perfect, so I don't expect to be on a reality show about our real lives being perfect. And so it's fine if people want to get upset from episode to episode. That means that they're enjoying the show.
Right.
Yes.
We get into it. All right, get into it. Now I know.
Now
it's even
I'm gonna play that one more time.
People have been criticizing you. They say it's bullying or colorism. What would you say to that? You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion
she choked.
of us, but you know, that's social media. Right. I always feel like social media does not pay us, so I don't pay attention to it.
Ooh.
The minute it pays us, I'll be all in it. But until then, it's just foolishness.
Yes. Yeah. And honestly, like, I'm not perfect, and I don't pretend to be perfect, so I don't expect to be on a reality show about our real lives being perfect. And so it's fine if people want to get upset from episode to episode. That means that they're enjoying the show.
Right.
Yes.
We get into it. All right, get into it. Now I know.
Okay, here we go. So that's what Giselle Bryant and Robin Dixon had to say. Now keep in mind, they're the main ones being accused of the colorism, the colorist the colorist statements, and also being accused of colorism. They're the two main ones. But also there's another person by the name of Ashley Darby that's also being accused as well. So let's talk about it. Baby. So now people actually responded. Now people are saying, now I gotta give you guys a backstory if you have not watched the show. Now on the show, there was an incident where Mia Thornton, I want to say her name is Mia Thornton, another cast member who's more lighter in complexion, and then also Wendy. Now, here's the thing. Mia and Wendy ended up having like a little verbal match. You said this, you said that, da-da-da-da. But here's the thing. When you actually go back, actually watch the show, it seemed like Mia, in my personal opinion, I could be right, I could be wrong, it seemed like Mia was looking for an issue. And I know, and I get it. It's a reality TV show. That's your job. Create entertainment. I get that. But it seemed like it's one thing for you to have like an actual justifiable reason, and then you take it on to, like, you know, it may be like a 7, and then you take that bitch to like 15. Okay, people can get that. But the issue that comes with Mia is that it seemed like, at least from our perspective, like she was inserting herself on something, like in a situation, and then got mad once the other person, aka Wendy, told her to back up out of it. I don't have to do that. And it seemed like she was really putting 15 on like a situation that's like 2 or 1. Something that really had nothing to do with her. So they ended up getting to a verbal match, and eventually Mia attempted to throw a drink, but it missed Wendy. And so now they're going back and forth. After that happened, now Wendy started to say some real reckless things to Mia about her husband, as in that's why y'all, now allegedly y'all, I'm paraphrasing, that's why y'all sleeping with other people, or da-da-da. Some along them lines, something out the way about her husband and her marriage. And so here's where the issue comes into effect. Now the issue is that after the situation happened, everybody got separated. Mia was actually making the claim that the reason why she threw the drink was because Wendy said something about her husband. Stop it right there. That's not the truth. That's not the truth. Because the reason why you threw something is because of the simple fact you just couldn't handle her mouth. It is what it is. And the thing about it is that this specific show franchise, it's not Love and Hip Hop. It's not Zeus. So with physical violence, it's not really tolerated, or it's not supposed to be tolerated on the show. And the thing about it, you can't get mad, and here's the other thing. You cannot get mad that you can't take somebody's mouth, especially when the situation had nothing to do with you and you inserted yourself inside the situation. Now, once again, I get it. It's your job to make a big deal of things. But however, from the outside looking in, it's like, girl, you had no reason to be mad. If you just would have left it alone, you wouldn't even be in that situation. And then not only that, now this is where Robin Dixon, also Giselle, comes into the chat. Now, the reason why people are saying they're colorist is because Robin Dixon as well. Robin Dixon was basically trying to tell Wendy that she was being antagonistic just because Wendy was not going to shut her mouth, and just because it was quote unquote pissing Mia off, making her want to fight. Now, my thing is this: how are you going to sit up there and say that Wendy is being quote unquote antagonistic when Wendy was just going back and forth, and then on top of that, Mia was the one actually on 10 saying that don't go there. And plus it got to the point, even Wendy was like, okay, what are you trying to do? What's going on? Trying to get an understanding, where's all of this hostility coming from? What seems to be your issue? So with that being said, Mia throws a drink at Wendy and misses. You expect Wendy to just sit there? And then, not only that, Giselle and also Robin are trying to make Wendy look like she's the one in the wrong, when everybody knows that the franchise, the show, is known for getting into verbal altercations, not physical altercations. And then not only that, the season prior with Monique Samuels, Giselle Bryant, and also Robin Dixon condemned Monique for getting physical with Candace. But now they understand the physical violence. The hypocrisy, baby. So that's the reason why. Now, this is what people had to say. Someone says Mia throws a drink on Wendy and then calls Wendy ghetto. Now, here's another thing. When it comes down to power forces, power system, and this, I feel like I always say this, and this is the reason why you have to understand social constructs, social issues on a systemic aspect. Reason being is because when you understand the ins and outs of these power systems, which either racism, transphobia, homophobia, colorism, not only can these power systems be demonstrated, presented through the explicit behavior and also the extremely explicit words and verbiage, but they also carry microaggressive behavior, and they also carry subtle language. Now, Mia throws a drink on Wendy and calls Wendy ghetto. Ghetto is that triggering power word, that triggering word. And the reason why it's triggering is because it's the gaslighting of it all as well. You throw a drink on her, but then everybody else trying to call her ghetto. Robin calls Wendy antagonizing after a drink was thrown in her face. And here's the thing about it. Robin said that Wendy's been antagonizing, but yet you're literally pointing the camera at Wendy because she picked up her phone. Robin picked up her phone and is pointing and had the camera on Wendy, and then saying that, okay, if you're going to fight, then fight. If not, sit down. And then after the situation, everything calms down. Robin looks at Karen, also, I believe Giselle as well, looks at Karen, who's another cast member that was actually in between Mia and Wendy. So they both look at Karen as in, why do you try to break it up? Keep in mind, Karen is like the oldest, if not, I believe she's the oldest person on the show. What the hell y'all expected? What did y'all expect Karen to do? with these two big giant Amazons, just to be completely honest. They're both, I'm pretty sure it's like kind of stronger than Karen. No shade. And so that's the gaslighting of it all. Giselle tells Karen she needs to defend Mia after, keep in mind, Mia's in the wrong. After Mia was the one who threw the drink. The colorism on this show is so loud. Now, here's the thing, is that it's like when it comes down to colorism, it's like it's hard for us as melanated people to understand that. Because the thing about it, if these were white people, no shade, these are white people, we will be screaming racism out the behind. Because I'm trying to carry up my clean up my language. We will be screaming racism throughout the streets and protesting and boycotting. Okay, so another person says, so Robin, Giselle, and Ashley, another person I mentioned, Ashley can do whatever, but Candace and Winnie can't. Robin and Giselle can go bully their castmates and make podcasts doing so, but Candace and Wendy can't defend themselves and have a shut up cause. It's offensive. The colorism is crazy. Well, really, they said that has me screaming. Now it says the optics look horrible and looks like colorist behavior. If Mia, Giselle, and Robin were white, here we go, the optics would most certainly look racist. Here we go. They are lighter skinned black women with the same bias, antagonistic energy. So yes, it's giving colorism. Full stop. Right there. I got one more. There's an obvious colorism issue on this show because the way Giselle and Robin attack Wendy for her confidence, but not Mia. And that's really what it is. And the thing about it is that here's the thing. Because the thing about it is that with Giselle, and this is from what I've seen in the show. This is my personal opinion. Y'all can watch it and get your own interpretation. And plus, I'm not gonna lie, from many panels I've been on, we can all watch the same thing and get 20,000 different interpretations of the exact same thing. That is just shade. Okay. Oh, hey, what's going on, Lady D? And here we go. Mia can throw a drink and not be the ghetto one. And that's right. And that's the colorism of it all. Because like once again, if we were to place Mia with a white woman and Wendy and everybody else to be white, everybody will literally be sitting up here screaming about racism, and that's just no shade. But I think because colorism and anti-blackness is so deeply ingrained within melanated communities, which is something that we all know, and I think a lot of times too is that, which goes to another reason why I'm kind of like, why didn't they say anything? Why didn't they actually take this opportunity to actually learn from this experience? Is because of the simple fact that a lot of people believe that once you are quote unquote deemed as a colorist, looked as a racist, homophobe, transphobe, that automatically makes you bad. No. And this is something that us as queer people, us as black people, us as etc. have to kind of realize, but I understand why we kind of don't have no tolerance for it. I've come to the realization that if you're not a colorist, if you're not a racist, if you're not a homophobe, if you're not a transphobe, this system that we live up under has failed you. And this system does not fail. No shade. So for me personally, I believe that me calling you a colorist or me calling you a racist, me calling you all these different things, that's not a bad thing. But however, once you are aware of those actions and once you are aware that these certain things are associated with these power structures, then after that, you making the conscious decision not to change those things or address it, that's when the issue actually comes in. And that's where the resistance steps into effect. Hey, what's going on, Derek? Hey, what's going on? So, and then that's the reason why when it comes, that's another reason why they always seem to get backlash, as in Giselle, Robin, and Ashley, is because they're not willing to have that conversation because they don't want to actually come to the realization that they just might be colorists. They just might be colorists. And the thing about it is that, keep in mind, racist, colorist, homophobic, they're not actually, it's extremely rare that you will literally come into contact with a colorist, a racist, etc., and they actually come out their mouth and say, yes, I'm a racist, or yes, I'm a colorist, or yes, I'm a homophobe, transphobe. Yes, I'm misogynistic. Yes, I'm a man. I'm a man hater. Like, people are not going to say that because they understand in their mind the negative connotations that are associated with those titles and the nasty history and the way that they're going to be viewed. That's just for real. Let's call a spade a spade. You guys, make sure you guys thumbs up this video. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Now, in the inability to recognize that the both can be true, people don't want to think that they can be good people with bad character flaws. And be completely honest, like, people can have bad, and I want to make a distinction. I believe people can be good people with bad character flaws, but I do not believe that you can be willfully ignorant and willfully a bigot and think that you're a good person. That's me. So I'm gonna read like 2 or 3 more comments. Actually, no, I'm gonna move on because actually I need to get into DJ Twitch. But yes, like, so we're gonna move on. But when it comes down to Giselle and Robin and Ashley, it's the fact I'm over here glitching, y'all. When it comes down to them, it's just the fact that they're not willing to at least have that conversation on a deeper level. And then when they do have that conversation, they're not doing the internal work of realizing, okay, what did I say? What did I do that comes off like colors? Because everybody cannot be lying on you. Everybody can't be lying on you. So with that being said, you have to do the internal work. I'm just saying. All right, so we're gonna move on. So now, come on, yes, pride keeps them from wanting to change, and that's the thing. You're gonna have to go through that transition of the ego, the transition of the ego. Now, let me do this, because girl, now we're gonna talk about DJ Twitch. Now, DJ Twitch. Now, keep in mind, yeah, I got 2 articles to read, and with that being said, I will be trying to substitute words. Y'all follow me, okay? So DJ Twitch is, to my knowledge, he is someone that worked on the Ellen Show, and he has passed away because of self-termination. I'm just gonna say it like that. Y'all bear with me, okay? Let me see. Can I do this real quick? Ooh, girl. Let me see. Everybody always okay. Now it says here. Now this article is from TMZ. Now it says Stephen Twitch boss left. Left a self-termination note. Girl, all the substituting the words. Self-termination note alluding to past challenges. Now it says here, Stephen Twitch boss left at least one clue as to what his struggles were leading up to his termination. It came to a note alluding to the challenges he faced in the past. TMZ has learned. Now let's get into it. Oh, girl, I'm over here glitching. Let me do this. Am I still glitching? Let me go. Let me see. I'm glitching a little bit. I'll be all right. Okay. Now it says law enforcement. Yeah, it says law enforcement sources tell us Twitch's note left at the scene of his termination was an ambiguous reference to his past challenges. It's unclear exactly what he was referring to in the note. Let's be clear. We're told investigators have determined Twitch took an Uber from his home to a motel less than a mile away from his home Monday morning and switched his phone to airplane mode so no one can reach or track him. Now it says here, TMZ broke this story. His wife, Allison, now I believe her last name is Honker. A little glitchy. It's a little glitchy. Yeah, I know. I don't know. It's like it's coming. But then again, you guys know Mercury retrograde coming. You know the devices, at least my device, because I'm like low key in the country too. It start acting crazy. So girl, y'all bear with me. Listen to this voice. Okay. Now it says. Now I believe her name is Allison Honker. But for the reference of this story, I'm gonna say Allison H. Because girl, I'll be butchering these people's names. Now, Allison H. was frantic when she showed up at a LAPD location Tuesday, saying Twitch left home without notice and wasn't answering her calls. As we first reported, it was a motel staffer who discovered the popular DJ and TV host Tuesday inside his room, past transition, because girl, I can't see it, from this self-inflicted gunshot wound. In addressing her husband's death, the transition, Allison said, and I quote, Stephen lit up every room he stepped into. He valued family, friends, and community above all else. And leading with love and light was everything to him. Okay, here we go. Now says, she continued, and I quote, he was the backbone of our family, the best husband and father, and an inspiration to his fans. To say he left a legacy would be an understatement, and his positive impact will continue to be felt. I am certain there won't be a day that goes by that we won't honor his memory. Now it says here, if you or someone you know is struggling with or in a crisis, help is available, and they gave a hotline number and also a website. Now that's the first thing I want to say. Okay, first thing, let me say. Yeah, that has to be a bit much, bro. That's a bit much. Let me see. Clean up. Hey, what's going on, IG? How are you doing today? And y'all, by the way, y'all know this glitching gonna be going crazy, okay? Let me see. Hey, what's going on? So just so you guys are aware, I have another article I do want to get into, but I'm gonna get into that right now. Actually, let me pull this bad boy up. Now, I will say this is very, 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 very sad. Very sad. Let me see. Can I pull this up? Because I also want to talk about this because I could also speak to this as well. Let me see. Baby. Oh, dang, I'm over here messing up. But yes, y'all make sure you guys thumbs up this video. Thumbing up this video really does help with the algorithm. Hey, Bree, how are you doing today? What's going on? How you doing? Make sure you guys thumbs up. Share this to your boyfriend, your baby daddy. Share this to your baby mama. Share it to your side piece. That's male or female. Share this video. Introduce them to me. All right, so now I have another article I do want to read. Now, this article right here is from CNN. Now, keep in mind, I don't really get too deep into CNN. I try to stay more into the melanated. Now, keep in mind, y'all, I try to keep from saying black only because some people don't like to be called black. But I try to stay with the black media. But however, this specific article came up and it actually struck a conversation I really do want to have. Now it says, opinion. The problem with how many are talking about Twitch's transition. Now it says here, what's going on, Nico? I said Nico. Nikia. All right, so now it says here, CNN, like millions of people around the world, I am processing the heartbreaking news that Stephen Twitch boss transitioned from self-termination. Now, y'all, I'm trying to substitute these words. What's going on, y'all? Hey. Now it says here, having lost too many people, I love to mental health challenges like depression, addiction, trauma, and hopelessness, all of whom transition from self-termination. I'm feeling so heavy with emotion right now. You might be too. Now it says here, Twitch was beloved for being Ellen DeGeneres' co-executive producer, dance partner, and DJ on her talk show. Yes, it says here, he was a part of people's lives 5 days a week for years. He had one of those megawatt smiles, and he most definitely did, that just lit up every room he walked into. Now it says here, seeing just a bright light like Twitch go out so suddenly at the age of 40 with 3 beautiful children, a huge life, so much talent, and adoring fans around the world stirred up so many sadness inside of me. And yeah, as they say, and it might be stirring up a lot inside of you too. Now, y'all, here we go. Hey, what's going on, Ro? Now it says here as well. And it should, girl, got people all loud in the background, girl. Now it says here, and it sure is stirring up a lot of thoughts on the internet. How do you make sense of the news that somebody so positive and energetic passed away from self-termination? I kept seeing comments online as people around the world process the heartbreaking and sad transition and then to write things like this. And I quote, but ... he had so many resources. Now I'm glitching. Oh, girl. Here we go. Now it says, quote, but he has so many resources. Another person said this. How could he do this to his family? Another person said this. But it's almost the holidays. Another person said this. What a selfish thing to do. You know, that one irks my freaking soul. Now it says, and my reaction so that stop. And it says, when someone passes away from brain cancer, you don't say that's so selfish. Now another person. Now I'm gonna continue. It says here, when someone livers fails, you don't say, and I quote, but they have so many resources. I don't think of transitioning from self-termination the same way I think about death from transition from brain cancer. If you have a friend or loved one, all as most of us do, who has passed away from struggle with addiction, depression, trauma, and toxic stress, the mental health challenge fundamentally changed their mind, the way they think, and the way they process the world. Similar to the way that brain cancer deteriorates the brain, mental illness impairs the brain, and for some, mental health challenges can even alter the physical structure of the brain. Now, this is the reason why mental health and the conversation around mental health, or the conversations around people passing away from self-termination, this is where this is going to get nuanced. Because I also have a situation myself with one of my very own friends. Where was it? Now it says here, with cancer, it says with cancer, you see people you love deteriorating on the outside. When someone struggles with mental health issues, you often don't see it. Unfortunately, men in particular, y'all pay attention, men in particular feel a lot of shame when they are struggling mentally. Now it says there are a lot of people battling demons in their heads who put on a smile, share fun videos on social media. Now keep in mind, to my knowledge, it was like a video he did on TikTok, I want to say, right before he ended up passing away. Now it says play on sports teams and are successful at work. Now it says all as they struggle, to battle their inner demons. Just because you don't see it you don't see it inside someone doesn't mean the pain they are experiencing isn't real or overwhelming. Now, this article longer, but it's worth it. Where was I? God dang it! I just messed it up. Messing up the church's money. Okay, here it is right here. Now it says here, that's why Twitch's transition doesn't make sense to so many. In public, his struggle was invisible. In the privacy of his mind, it may have been a living hell. That's why the language we choose when discussing self-termination is so important. Now it says, it really upsets me when I see people that write arrogant things like, well, I struggled, I was in a dark place, and I asked for help. Why didn't he? Or how could he do this to his wife and kids? Now it says here, to say that you didn't need to know the man to see that he dearly loved his wife and his kids. He may have suffered from a pain that you or I cannot relate to or understand. There's a big difference between wanting to end their pain and wanting to end their life. But some of those who struggle with mental illness may not be able to see the difference. That's why self-termination isn't selfish. It's what happens when someone loses their battle with mental illness. This is why I feel so adamant that we can change the way that we think and talk about self-termination. Saying this is selfish or the fault of the victim. Let me say this again. Saying this is selfish or the fault of the victim is simply ignorant and completely hurtful to family members who loved someone who lost their battle. Now, keep in mind too, this happened to me. And I'm going to get into it. So stop assuming you know what someone else's life is like or what it's like to live in their head. The fact is, you have no idea what somebody else's life is like, and neither do I. You have no idea what pain or trauma a huge smile may be hiding. With someone who seems to to have it all, transitions by self-termination. Girl, I'm struggling with trying to make sure I do not say certain words. Self-termination. Come on, trying to clean up my language. Self-termination. It makes it easy to focus on the beautiful life and the bank account, and also awesome spouse, or the wonderful kids, or the big house. Now, this article says a whole bunch of other things. Now, let me just say this. Okay, when it comes down to the conversation surrounding self-termination, and when it comes down to the conversation surrounding mental health, this is the reason why these things like mental health, these are the things like reasons of domestic violence, the things surrounding the conversations of sexual assault are very sensitive and important. And if you do not carry those conversations with grace, empathy, these issues are going to continue to happen. Now, case in point. Now, within the article, someone ended up saying something along the lines of, you know, that's selfish. How could you do that? The wife, the kids, yada, yada, yada. Let me just be completely honest with y'all. And I might just be a tad bit ignorant. Fuck. I wasn't supposed to cuss. Bring it down. Forget those children and forget his wife. Because right now, they are the secondary victims. The main victim was Twitch. Now, the reason why I have this stance is because of the simple fact that when it comes down to people actually taking their own lives, is because when situations like this actually happen from a previous victim, conversations of you're selfish, conversation of you have so many resources, these ignorant, arrogant statements do not make a safe space for men, in particular for the article, for men, which we already know under this specific system does not give room for men to even express their true emotions already. And then not having that safe space only amplifies those things. So a lot of times when people are having those ignorant conversations and ignorant statements, guess who's listening? The people who are struggling with mental health are listening to your statements. People who struggle with trauma are listening to your statements. People who struggle with depression and also struggle with traumatic experiences are listening to your conversations and your comments. Now, I had a friend that ended up taking his own life. This was a really big story where my friend, he was a star player on the football team, really happy, you know, he was living it up. Yes. But then one day I woke up, and when I woke up, something in my head just said, go on Instagram. So I went on IG. I was scrolling. All of a sudden I seen his picture. I'm just waking up, so I'm trying to make sure that I'm seeing what I'm saying. I'm seeing his picture, and people have like no one said R.I.P from the stuff that I seen at first, but people were saying like everybody knows how people talk when you kind of have a feeling that someone had passed away. Like, oh my God, dog. Now when they start saying stuff along the lines of this, I was just talking to you yesterday, but when I start hearing stuff like that, I'm like, okay, my heart started to beat real fast. I'm like, okay, what's going on? And so I found out eventually he ended up taking his own life. And he jumped in front of a train because he was going through a lot of things within his personal life that no one knew. No one had an idea. Well, I'm not going to say nobody. I didn't know. I did not know. And the reason why I said when it comes down to these conversations, and we have to carry these conversations with grace, is because the simple fact that the thing about it is that his story ended up on the news. I want to say to Jasmine, it was somebody's blog site. And you know what I did? I went straight into the comment section. And the disgusting things that people were saying, the jokes that were made were very deplorable. Saying stuff like, oh, okay, basically making references of him being hit by the train and also making references of him being a football player. So you can automatically just imagine the comparisons, the metaphors that people are going coming up with, forgetting that this is my friend. This man literally lost his life, and people are laughing. And then you mean to tell me people are laughing at this? We're watching this, and you expect other people that see this, that already have the issues of not being open and honest about their mental health, that already is under a system that doesn't even encourage them to even be mentally and emotionally available. And then you expect them to, okay, it's a safe place. Let me just give it all out to you guys. What? You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't be disrespectful and disrespect the actual victim, because I'm gonna have to be the one to say it. I guess I'm gonna have to be just that ignorant person in some people's minds. The wife is a victim, but she's not the main victim. The husband is the main victim. Sorry to say, the children, they are victims because they lost their father, but last time I checked, they can live to see another day. And once again, just because you don't see it on the outside does not mean inside or how they're feeling. Because even then, even subtle things like this, and I had to catch myself. Doing stuff like this can come off like you call them crazy. And even I have really good intentions. It's so deeply ingrained for us to be so subtle with our movements, which can completely derail, disrespect the conversations. We don't even know the type of pressure and the type of impact that we have on these conversations at all. So yes, I'm sorry. I feel bad for the wife, and I also feel bad for the children, but they get to see another day. They get to see another day. And the fact that people are mishandling these type of conversations, how do you expect change? And also another reason why I get so passionate about this specific thing is because someone else that I know, actually a couple people that I knew, said the exact same thing to me in my face about him. And you mean to tell me that you have empathy for the family, empathy for the children, empathy for this man, but yet this man, he lost his life. The wife is she's grieving. The children are grieving. If he has parents that are still living, his aunties, uncles, cousins, nephew, the whole family is grieving. And the first thing that come out of your mouth is, that was selfish. Selfish has a negative connotation to it. Oh, he has so many resources, which is ignorant because the simple fact that when you get deeper into this conversation, yes, you can have resources, but however, it's all about where you are in your mental state. And this is what I mean when I say where the mind goes, the body's going to follow. And it's funny that right here I actually have my psychology book. Where is this bad boy? Right here. Right here. Talks about all these things. Now, it was something on here. It was actually a quote on here that I seen. Let me see. Where is it? Oh, here we go. It's right here. It's right here at the bottom. I'm gonna read it to you guys. It says, now this, by the way, y'all, I like reading this book because, and I also have like a sociology. Damn, get it together. A sociology book. This book right here works on psychology. Big ideas. It breaks it down, explains it to you, so you can get more of a deeper understanding. I actually recommend this book, and I also recommend the sociological book. Awesome. Now it says here, the quote, it says, the unconscious is the true physical, the unconscious is the true psychological reality. So where your mind goes, the body's going to follow. So with that being said, I think people need to stop being so ignorant in these conversations. And keep in mind, if you're being ignorant and don't realize it, that's one thing. But if you're being ignorant and you're being willfully ignorant, that's something completely different. So with that being said, these conversations need to be handled with care. We need to make more of a space for men specifically to be more in tune with their emotions and also allow safe space for them to be able to express their emotions. They are, oh geez, they are loud, girl. The ghetto. JK. But to be able to express their emotions. Because we can't say we make a safe space, but in situations like this, we say ignorant and demeaning things. I'm just saying. So let me see what some of you guys are saying. This is disgusting. That's facts, reckless. Let me see here. It says he can no longer work on his pain. Hold on, y'all. Now it says here, it says he can no longer work on his pain. Everyone else can work through their grief. He cannot anymore. And that's the thing that I'm saying. I agree. I agree. Men and children. Yes. And here's the thing too. I think, and I know y'all hate when I say this, girl, but I do believe this what goes into the patriarchy. No shade. When you have, because the patriarchy strips men, even though men may benefit from patriarchy, the system itself, they also have shortcomings or things that strips them away. I'm over here glitching, y'all. Okay, come on, retrograde. There we go. It also strips them away from the emotion and also having the room of having emotion. So I know a lot of times when I get on here, I literally get on men a lot about the patriarchy. I think that's because that's typically where the conversation usually goes. But to my women, and I know critically drinking gonna love me for this. To my women, you cannot, and I'm gonna say this, you cannot get mad at the patriarchy, but then be very it's very convenient for you to also use that exact same system to weaponize against men. So the same way I literally get on men about you to stop that all that toxicity, y'all do too. Now I may understand why a lot of the times women may feel a certain way about men getting to certain emotions, because a lot of the times it's always an extreme. It's either you're really happy or you mad as hell. And a lot of times when you be mad as hell and you're not allowing that spectrum of emotions to actually be expressed and actually showcase, only God knows what can happen. And the thing about it too is that a lot of times when you suppress emotion, that's energy. That's energy. That's the reason why when you have somebody that you love and they're crying, it can make you cry as well too, because you can transfer that energy. You guys make sure you guys thumbs up this video. You can transfer that energy. And with the transference of energy, you cannot create it or make it, but all that can happen is you can transfer that energy. The same reason why, even with my own family member passing away, when I tell you I was cool outside of the church, I was cool. But once you actually got into the environment and once you actually got into that area, I started to get like a really big, really heavy feeling of sorrow, a really heavy feeling of feeling sad, because it's an energy. And the thing with energies is that it can transfer. It's going to come out. So with people not being able to express those energies, it may be expressed in healthy ways, and it also may be expressed in toxic ways. So the same way I get on men about having toxicity when it comes down to this patriarchy and not allowing them to have emotions, I'm doing the same thing to women as well. And also, I'm going to also include queer people as well too, because I think a lot of times when people think that when I talk about men or just women, they think I'm going to talk about just heterosexual. Another reason why I really harp on these conversations and I really try to generalize men or generalize women is because queer people also believe in those things as well too. Also believe in those things as well too. So we're not exempt at all. Come on, stop glitching. Okay, you back. We're not exempt at all. So when it comes to the situation, I really do feel give my condolences to him and his family. I really hope that this can really be a learning experience for a lot of people. That these situations have to be met with care. And this is why, for me, I always talk about the root of the issue. Because for me, this is a tree that keeps growing. It keeps growing, keeps growing, keeps growing. The roots, then you have the branches, then you have the leaves. The leaves are the people. The leaves are the people. The branches are these power systems. The roots are the foundation of those power systems. So, for me, people may be racist. The leaves are racist or have internalized and top. Now, keep in mind, all these different powers forces. Come on, it's all coming to me. Yes, ma'am. Come on, I'm on the road today. When it comes down to these power forces, these power structures, power systems, they all integrate and have a brain. It's crazy because they all have like a tree spectrum as well too. They all branch out to something else. Same reason why you have patriarchy. Then not only that, you have hegemonic masculinity. By the way, hegemonic masculinity, which means that with patriarchy, that already means that, actually, I'm going to bring it up. Now, I was going to expect this to be alive, but I'm kind of in my zone right now. So let me just get in my zone. Let me get in my zone. Let me get in my zone. And that's another reason why I pushed the other live back, because I felt like I was going to get in my zone. So this is the sociology book that I use. And of course, I made a PowerPoint. Now, hegemonic masculinity, what is that? Now, it says here, is the idea that a dominant, socially constructed form of masculinity exists, which exists above, on a totem pole above, which exists culturally exalted above other expressions of masculinity as well as femininity. So, with patriarchy, I'm going to bring this down because I want to see you guys face to face. So, by the way, make sure you guys thumbs up this video. Please thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Share this to a friend, etc. With patriarchy, what that does, and within this system, it literally allows men, which typically are the more masculine entities, because we live in a strong binary. Men are feminine. Women are feminine. Men are masculine. Women feminine. Men are masculine. So with that being said, with the system of patriarchy, it automatically puts men at the top, women at the bottom on the social scale, specifically within America. That's the reason why these laws are represented the way that they are. Then not only that, since we live in a classism, hierarchical type of thing, system, environment, you also have to categorize, classify in a hierarchical structure the men, because not all men can be at the top. So you have to put them in order. So because of racism, anything closer to melanin or blackness, you're automatically going to be at the bottom on the lower totem pole of men. If you're closer to whiteness or because girl, I'll be trying to find these easier words because girl, YouTube be trying to get me up out of here for saying all this other stuff. When you're closer to whiteness, you're gonna automatically be given privileges and more treated better on the totem pole, which automatically gives you a privilege. And this is where the privileges come into effect when I talk about these things. I'm on a roll today. And this is where this comes into effect. But yet, because of racism, you already have it like this. Black men, and then you, of course, you have the gray area of black men, but yet the lighter they are, etc. But at the same time, you have white men on top or closer to whiteness. But yet, we're also going to classify, organize this social structure by how masculine that you are. Because guess what? The thing about patriarchy, if you're deemed as feminine, you're automatically the lesser being. So with that being said, since men, specifically, the closer you are to femininity, the lower on the totem pole, which also includes queer people as well, which is why queer people are affected by patriarchy as well. The lower you are on that totem pole, which means that the closer you are to femininity, has nothing to do with your sexual orientation, just the expression of femininity alone, the lower you are going to be on that social structure. And the more masculine that you are, the higher you're going to be. Now, that's how that works. Let me see. Let's get into it. Girl. Now it says here at the top, patriarchy is a power system. It says that empowers men and enables the domination, the dominion. Yeah, girl, my eyes. Oh, my bad. Domination of women. Hegemonic masculinity is a power system that ranks male men above those who display feminine traits. Patriarchy and hegemonic masculinity both value and empower men above women. And this is where the power structure comes into effect. This is where the power structure enters the chat. Let me see. Is there anything else I want to say on here? I kind of wanted to say my points. Let me see. Okay, we already got that. Let me see. Something else I wanted to say. Okay, so here's the thing. Hey, Ev. Now here's the thing. I think a lot of times when we talk about patriarchy, I'm just going to talk about this. I'm going to leave it alone. I think a lot of times when we talk about patriarchy, a lot of times people don't understand how it actually affects in the regular world today. So patriarchy is a system of social structures and practices in which men dominate, oppress, and exploit women through one, paid work, which is why the conversation around the sexist gap between men and women exists. And also, if you want to add another racial gap between black women and black men, that's even bigger. That's why that exists. The family household. We're going to get into that because it actually talks about that in this article. If I can find it, I'm going to try to skim it and try to find it. The state. That's the reason why the laws are represented the way that they are when it comes down to Roe v. Wade, when it comes down to policing women's wombs, their bodies, but yet there is no legislation, no laws that regulate men's bodies. And that's the reason why. Male violence, cultural institutions, that's nothing, that would be the church, and attitudes to sexuality. Let's get into it. Okay, I'm on a roll. Here we go. Let me see. Can I be able to find that bad boy? Let me see. Let me see. Can I find that bad boy? Because I do remember. Where is that bad boy? Let me see. Where is it? Because I do remember me talking about within capitalism, patriarchy, men's violence is threatened against women plays an important. Okay, I'm gonna read this part because something's telling me to read this. Now it says. Actually, I'm gonna read the whole thing. Let me see. Now it says male violence and sexuality. The fourth of Walby's 6 structures is male violence against women, or just the divine feminine. Because keep in mind, this book is talking about just the basic level. But when you understand masculinity and femininity and the way that patriarchy and all the other things work, anything that demonstrates femininity, that's queer men, lesbian women, etc. Anything that is feminine, divine feminine, anything in that area. So I'm trying to make it a nuance. Understand the nuance, the nooks and crevices. Domestic violence includes controlling or threatening behavior and violence or abuse between intimate partners or family members. These, girl, I got shit all in the background. Oh, girl, I'm impressive stuff for messing up the church's money. Okay, that's abuse between intimate partners and family members. These intimate relationships are power structured, and I got something else at the bottom I can't read. Now it says patriarchy 6 structures and work through a set of arrangements whereby one person is controlled by another. Men's violence for threatened violence against women plays an important part in their continuing control and domination of women. The fifth of the structure is sexuality. Walby says that the society's prize heterosexual relationships above all others. In many cases, seeing them as the only permissible option. Sexuality is a major area in which men exercise domination of women. Now, this is why me, Miss Barbara, and Quack kind of got into the ring. Is because the simple fact when we get into the conversation of, girl, I know I'm supposed to be over here doing these damn topics, but it is what it is. When we got into the conversation around sexual violation, abuse, etc., I'm not negating or dismissing the fact that women can also be abusers. Women can also sexually violated as well. But the thing with Miss Barbara and also Quack is that they were, for one, indirectly victim shaming, and at the same time making justifications for sexual assault, whether they know it or not. Now, where was I? Now it says they impose their ideas of femininity. Now, that's a big one. Here's the big thing. This is the reason why that when it comes down to when men having critiques of women is dangerous, is because from a historical aspect, men have always made critiques of women. Men have always said how they felt about women. And of course, it always comes from a controlling, and also comes from a insidious intention, either from a subtle position or an explicit position. Domination of women. They impose their ideas of femininity onto women and have constructed sexual practices they receive, that they revolve around male notions of desire. Walby points out that the second wave feminism, 1960s, wider range, official inequalities, okay, here we go. Let me see, where is it? I want to find the one I'm really trying to find is, which one was it? Let me see. Let me go back because I'm going to find it. Cultural institutions, because that's the one I really want to talk about. Let me see. Let me see. Where is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Capitalism, however. Okay, I think it's right here. By the way, y'all make sure y'all thumbs up this video. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, one thing I wanted to make sure I address too, when it comes down to male violence, is this, or violence against males or whatever, is that I actually talked to my mom. And I talked to my mom and we had deep conversations of, how was stuff back in the day with grandma. And I talked to my grandma too, but I want to get the real, start to peel back the layers. Yes, she been with my granddad for 20 something years, 15 years. Yeah, that's cool and all. But let's start to really go through the bushes. Let's start to peel back the layers. Let's start to really understand the assignment. And so when I asked her certain questions, I got a really explicit answer, not really cursing wise, but explicit raw answer of the upbringing, which I already had an idea about the upbringing and how crazy it was. Upbringing. And so when my grandfather, he grew up, and actually let me bring this down because I want to see y'all face to face. Let me bring this down. And while I'm doing it, I'm actually going to be trying to look for this way because I'm actually going to find it. I'm determined to find it. So yes, 2.5 seconds. So here's the thing. When it comes down to the conversation surrounding my grandfather and me having that conversation with my mother, I was able to get more of a concise, accurate experience between my grandmother and my grandfather. And I was able to get more of an understanding of his upbringing. Now, my grandfather, his upbringing is that he was beat really, 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 really bad. Okay, so he was beat really bad. And I remember my mom telling me a story how he was literally, the way he was beat was like slave-like. Literally slave-like. So what his parents would do is hang him from his ankles from a tree, swing him back and forth, and every single time he met the middle, he was getting hit. That was his upbringing. Then later on, he gets married. Later on, he gets married to my grandmother. I found out they have had domestic violence issues. And also another key thing I found out as well is that he was taught those things by his father. One of the very distinctive things that he was told. At first, let me see what page this is. Hold on, what page is this? This is page 97. Okay, so one of the very distinctive things that he was actually told to do is that in order to keep your women in line, you have to beat them. That's what he was told. He was told that in order to keep your women in line, you have to go in there and beat them. Into what? Submission. And so this is what I mean when I say the triggering language and these power structures. Now, yes, I understand that these power forces, these power structures, power systems, they may not, yes. And Arshawn right here. This is what I mean. This is what I mean when I say that these power structures and all these different things, they have language. These things have language that carries out through the generations. Now, I do understand, and I will say this, I do understand that these power structures are not as explicit that they used to be. They have gone under a different mutation. And under a different mutation, they're more subtle. They're more... Girl, they all loud. They're more subtle. I don't know why this is. Every single time I get on live, before I even get on live, all of a sudden it's like, it's nothing wrong. We quiet. As soon as I press that play, that record button, I'm like, girl, it's too much going on. But it's more subtle, and it also comes with distinctive language that gives us an idea of what's your mind like. Let me just peel your mind apart. Like I start putting the mind, and that's the reason I start asking a lot of questions, because I'm trying to figure out what's your foundation. And this is the reason why, Arshawn, a lot of times when a lot of y'all speak, whether you know it or not, I try to let you guys go down a rabbit hole, go down that rabbit hole. Like, and think about it, and this goes back to what I said when it came down to Giselle and Robin. Whether you know it or not, you may be going into a power system. You may have no idea. But the issue is it's not about you being those things or associate yourself with those things, whether you know it or not. It's that when you are willfully doing it. But I know for a lot of you guys don't know that. And that's why I try to make you guys go down that rabbit hole. Okay, so what does that mean? What's going on? Like, explain that to me. Explain, like, go down that rabbit hole. Because when you go down that rabbit hole, you will find out it leads somewhere. Eventually. Now, I just said all of that. I ain't even looked for the stuff yet. Now, actually, I'm going to read this. Okay. Oh, it's right here. Okay, so it says here. The first way... Oh, girl, I'm doing all this. Let me just pull it up. Duh. Nah, girl, with this shit here. Okay, I'm just going to do this. Okay, so it says here. Now, it says first wave feminism. And I know that's a triggering language when it comes down to men. Now it says, Walby notes that the first wave of feminism in the 19th and early 20th centuries in Europe, come on, white woman, and the U.S. focused on the private rather than public nature of patriarchy. There's a private and public nature of patriarchy. Now, I haven't read this specific article, this specific section in a while. Because I'm pretty sure it's going to clarify. The private is within the household. The public is within, of course, the general public. That's me making an educated guess. I'm just assuming, okay? So it says here, the U.S. focused on the private rather than the public nature of patriarchy at this time. Yeah, it says, nature of patriarchy. At this time, she says married women were excluded from paid employment. Okay, so this is talking about the paid work. So let me see, can I find what's talking about the actual institutions, because that's what I need to find. The actual institutions, the cultural institution, because then it gets into the conversation I believe surrounding the church. And now this is the conversation that I'm talking about. Well, a lot of times when black men get on the panels and they ask, how did us as men, engage into it? I'm explaining it to you. If I can find that bad boy right over here. Let me see. Structures maintain. Constitute capitalism, rich interest, exploitation of women's labor. Okay, where is it? Because I know for a fact I've seen it. Desire abolishes male violence, a shift in patriarchy, trafficking. Okay, so this is talking about the actual sexuality. Okay, I think it's this. Yeah, I found it. Bam. Period. Oh, I did all that cussing. Okay, by the way, y'all make sure you because I'm also working too. And by the way, y'all are conscious of money. So hey, y'all can help a brother out. Y'all can support. And also with that, please make sure you guys thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. It really does help with the channel. In this specific video, period. Now it says here, where if I can find it, where is it? Let me go to the slide. Which one was this? Bam, it was this one. Now it says here, the top. Okay, so you guys see where the picture of the lady. We're gonna go to the first. You know, as soon as you get to reading, it's gonna say increase. That first line. Increased exploitation of women in prostitution, the sex industry, and human trafficking. Now, this is where it gets into the cultural institutions. The last of Walby's 6 structures is culture, specifically a society's cultural institution. She claims that patriarchy permeates key social institutions and agents of socialization in society, including education, religion, and the media, all in which create the representation of women within a patriarchal gaze. The world's religions, for example, continue to exclude women from the top positions, and this is what I mean, right here. Exclude women from the top positions and seem determined to restrict them to the caring rather than executive level. This, they say, is more natural for them. Here we go. And this is it's coming together. Let me put this down because now it's coming together. I'm on a roll. So this is the reason why I wanted you guys, Arshawn, if you're still in here, I believe you are. This is the reason why I wanted Marcus and Mandrell to go down that rabbit hole of why are you saying that women should not be here or women should not be there? I wanted to go down that rabbit hole. Go down that rabbit hole. And this is the reason why. I'm gonna say it again. Is that the world's religions, for example, can continue to exclude women from the top positions and seem determined to restrict them. So you exclude them from top position, and then on top of you want to restrict them to the caring, which is why when you paid attention to the positions of work that they aligned women to be associated to, which is also associated to femininity. They were medics. Once you be a medic, you have to take care of somebody. That's nurturing. That's femininity. That's a feminine trait. You have to become a doctor. Being a doctor, you have to care. You have to nurture. You have to take care of people. That's also associated with femininity. You have to do admin work. You know, the restricting part. And this is what I was talking about. Come on, I'm gonna get. Okay, caring rather than executive level. Executive level. Oh, women aren't natural leaders. Men are natural leaders. Women can't lead. They're not leaders. You can't be you can't be on the executive level. How can you lead? Now it says here, the executive level, this they say is more natural to them. Women aren't, and this is what I mean, the language, if you pay attention to the language, women aren't naturally leaders. But once again, look, they're not naturally leaders because of guess what? In the next section says this. Women are thereby defined. I feel like I'm in a church saying, now preach, pastor, preach. Now it says, women are therefore defined from a patriarchal viewpoint and kept firmly in their place. And that's the reason why when that language was going on, I was like, okay, go down the rabbit hole. What do you mean by that? Explain that to me. How does that make sense to you? Okay, got you. Like, go down that rabbit hole. And you will see that it goes back down to the roots. The roots may be what? Patriarchy, which may bleed into misogyny, homophobia, queerphobia, essentially, because it's the whole thing, queerphobia, and also may bleed into, and also, and here's the thing, when you bleed into those things, you cannot, and I'm gonna say this, you cannot beat up on directly or indirectly beat up on marginalized groups and think you're not going to have a response. It does not matter how extreme the response may be. You cannot do that and think you're not going to have a response. So with this branch, the roots of patriarchy, white version of patriarchy, bleeds into racism, which bleeds into misogyny, queerphobia, etc. You can expect a response to misogyny as misandry, which is, since men, quote unquote, the misogyny is that you hate men, well, you hate women, or you have a bias against women, but yet the response, they're going to start to have a bias against men. And you cannot talk about queerphobia and think that the response to that will be the LGBT movement. You can't talk about patriarchy and it bleeds out and think that the response to that is not going to be feminism, or the women's suffrage movement, or the womanism for melanated women. And then you can't talk about racism and think the response is not going to be the Black Panthers. It's not going to be Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. And so all these things bleed from one place. Now, in terms of talking about how do Black men contribute to it, and that's what I talked about the church, which we all know because of slavery, all because of here in America, we were told that being Christian was the only way to go, and it was the dominant religion, which is why I always reference that a lot of times, a lot of people's talking points, a lot of their language may come from a biblical text, which already is patriarchal as their viewpoints, as their reference point. Sorry. So when we talk about, so here's the thing. So when we talk about these power structures coming up and they bleed out into all these different power systems and all these other responses are coming into effect, is because it all comes from one place. Now, in terms of how Black men specifically have a melanated context may contribute to that, is through the reinforcement of gender roles. But however, I know what people are going to say to that. Well, women reinforce it too. But here's the thing. Here is the thing. Now, this is where the church comes into effect. The church was the guidance point for melanated people, for hope, for guidance, for God. So within those institutions, and also holding up a biblical text that is patriarchal, and also saying that, because also let's also keep in mind too, within the Black church, there was a big thing of not having women as pastors, women as in leadership positions. You was always going to be the first lady, but you're always going to be in the back. You was never going to be the pastor. Now things have slightly changed, but I can also explain it as well too. So yes, with Black men, majority being the pastors, and also are in the positions of power. And keep in mind, the church played a really big part. So when you take into account the way that we even socialize women, we socialize women to be a damsel in distress. We socialize women that, your help is going to come from a man. We socialize women that, even through religious practices, your faith is going to come from a man. So we are socially indirectly programming women, I hate to say program, but programming women to put their faith in men indirectly, into men, which goes into the submission word, which goes into the guy must be the head of the household, which goes into he must be the leader. All of these things come into effect. So now when we have melanated men within the church, he said 95%. But here's the thing. Now when we have melanated men in the church in positions of power, which will obviously be the pastor, the deacons board, or they'll be within the pulpit, You're looked up to because you must look up to the man and submit. I hate to be the one to say it, but fuck, I'm gonna have to say it. You look at these men as almost as God. You look up to them. You're putting your faith in a man for salvation. That's the same reason why within the biblical text, they took up all the feminine pronouns and replaced them with men, with masculine pronouns. He. I love him. He. Okay, so here's the thing. Now, I know our rebuttal that I always hear as well. If that's the case, why would, and by the way, after this, I'm going to go straight to the comment because right now I'm on the roll. A rebuttal is going to be, why would, if that's the case, why would today we see mostly queer people and we mostly see women in the church now? Black men, we're not in the church. But here's the thing. That, and I'm going to have to say it. That right there is the sign of oppression. Now, I don't know if that is a coined term, but that's what I call it. That is I'm gonna try to find like a coined term for it, but that's a sign of oppression. That's the reason why when you notice the dynamic between melanated communities and also the dynamic between non-melanated communities, they're similar. And that's why we always reference it as the white man. YouTube gonna try to get me up out of here. White man's patriarchal system, because it's very similar. The language is similar. The way that the plan is very similar. The man is the head of the house. The woman's supposed to cook and clean. Like it's very similar. That is a sign of oppression. The exact same way, you may see queer people in the heterosexual community. It's very similar. The heteronormativity is very similar. That's a sign of oppression. Now, when you see mainly women and queer people literally in the church, that's a sign of oppression. That's a sign of oppression because you're going to cling on to what you know, whether or not you know that it's helping you or hurting you. That's a sign of oppression. So, okay, I don't want to run a whole rabbit hole. I'm pretty sure y'all really don't care if I went down a whole rabbit hole, but I don't went down a whole rabbit hole. I'm gonna read some comments, then I'm gonna move on to the last thing with Kalani. Actually, that's pretty good. I kind of went down a rabbit hole because the whole thing with Kalani. Okay, let me move up and let me go all the way down, baby. Okay, he says, I agree with you like 90 to 95. Okay, we're not always gonna agree, but it's all right. We're all right. And I'm not gonna lie, that's the reason why I'm going to panel. I kind of on purpose started upward, no shade. Now it says here, I just don't have the full language for my disagreement yet. Come on, disagreement yet? You're actually helping with hegemony. Now it says Derek. Now it says reckless. It's true. If black women open their mind that most of the prophets and disciples, I'm about to say disciplines. Come on, Medea. Disciples and the characters in the Bible, majority are men subconsciously telling women there's second place to them. And that is the reason why I kept saying that. And then that's why I think that, yes, melanated men, they may not contribute to the patriarchal system as in laws or certain things on a wider scale. But however, this is the reason why I always talk about the context inside the melanated communities. Within melanated communities, you have because of the Bible. Now things are slowly starting to change, but because of the Bible and the way that we socialize women, etc., and I would say even the language as well, you guys have a big upper hand in that, because like I said, where the mind goes, the body's going to follow. And actually, I literally just seen a post on Instagram where there was a woman, and and this is 2022, and the woman had said something along the lines of, oh, when it comes to my man, he's in control of me and the children. I'm gonna be honest. Hey, what's going on, conscious? I'm gonna be honest. When it comes down to that, I'm like, you a grown adult. I want y'all to fill in the blanks. You're a grown adult. I don't need someone to watch my children because we both can do that. I don't need anyone to cook and clean because we both can do that. I don't need someone to take care of the bills mostly because we both can contribute to the bills. And this also goes, I'm on a roll. This also goes to the pressures that men may also go through, which is why the mental health conversation needs to be taken with grace and nuance. And this is the reason why it goes back to what even DJ Twitch, because even within that conversation, who knows what struggles that he was going through that caused him to have certain thought process, that caused him to think about certain things or struggle with certain ideas and all those things. But this is the reason why I always say it always goes back to the patriarchy, whether or not we're talking about black men, whether or not, but however, we're talking about the exact system, this system of patriarchy. All righty, so that's really all I have to say on that. Now let me move on to, I got it right here. Now we're gonna talk about Miss Kehlani. Kalani, baby, where is it? Where is it, baby? Y'all make sure you guys thumbs up this video. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna start doing this on live. I want to say thank you. Thank you, IG, for your cash up, your donation. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Baby, where is it? So yeah, yes, please make sure you guys thumbs up this video. It really does help with the algorithm. Oh, girl, they out there doing all types of girl. I'm gonna let the mom and daddy handle that. I'm not gonna do that today. All right, so it says here. Now it says Kalani gives, and now here's the thing. Now it says Kalani gives fans an update on how she's doing after revealing she was sexually assaulted at her concert. Where is it? Now it says here. It says Kalani claims she was sexually assaulted during a UK concert after fans struck his hands up singer's skirt and touched her private parts. Because I don't know if I can say the other stuff, because girl, I don't need to get YouTube, get me up out of here. And she said this made me sick. So let me see. Now she does have an Instagram post. The Instagram post says this: I've made video after video after video and deleted it because I don't want any video of me as angry. Now here we go. Here we go. The language, y'all. The language as angry. That triggering language. As angry, triggered, crying, upset as I am anywhere. I don't care how sexual you deem my music, my performance, my fun with my friends, dancing at clubs, or me. That does not give you any right to cross a boundary like sticking your hands up my skirt and pulling and doing all the inappropriate stuff, because I don't need the. Thank you, JT. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for buying and supporting. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for your super stick. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very much, JT. So it says that does not give you a right to do all of that inappropriate stuff, inappropriate things. And it says, as I am being escorted from a crowd after performing. This made me sick to my stomach. As a victim of SA, sexual assault, I am endlessly triggered and mind blown. Now, this is another conversation that needs to be handled with grace. This is another conversation that needs to be handled with grace. Now, reason why. Actually, there's a video of her actually saying something. Because I'm not going to lie, I think because I also went on, like, kind of went onto this, like, big giant. I went down that rabbit hole. I don't think I'll have to do too much explaining when it comes out to this story, because I kind of already did it. No, sure. Now, this is her speaking.
So I have zero comment. I put it out there what happened so that I can set a proper boundary with my audience, with my fan base, the people who do come to see me out or come to a concert. I set that boundary so that you guys can know how to please just respect me as a human, me as an individual. I don't really have anything else to say. I hate that it's become such a thing, but I also understand it's such a serious thing, and I put it out there and people are just trying to support me and get the word out. Have no comments for the negative comments that I've accumulated and negative, assumptions that I've accumulated over the past couple of days, because people are going to be people and they'll have something else to, address soon. But really just wanted to say thank you for those who care. I've seen so much love and so much support. Hey guys,
there you go.
And clarify that I'm good. So I appreciate you guys. I am.
Okay, there we go. Now, this is the reason why these situations have to be taken with care. Is because now I think most of us obviously are going to say things along the lines, oh my God, that's messed up. How could that happen? Why would they think that happened? And da da da. But here's the thing, and that's the reason why I really wanted to make, if anybody didn't, even though I knew everybody was going to say something, that's the reason why me, Miss Barbara, and Quack got into it on that panel. Is because just because someone's music may look a certain way, sound a certain way, album covers may look a certain way, they may dress a certain way, does not give you the right, does not give you the authorization. Come on, vocabulary, yes, ma'am. It does not give you the authorization to feel free to grab somebody. You can look, you can take in a view, but it does not give you the right to actually go up and actually physically touch somebody or try to do something extremely inappropriate with them by any means. And that's the reason why I wanted to make sure that I made that distinction and kind of go down a rabbit hole with them. Not because I wanted to see where it came from, just because I wanted to have other people who possibly have certain ideas like that as well, to understand that when you go down that rabbit hole, it doesn't make sense. Because essentially as well, another thing that you may hint to, you may not always say it, but you may hint towards those things. One of the things that you may hint to is that just because a person is a sex worker or an escort, street walker, etc., they deserve. Thank you, Ty, for your donation. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Now y'all see, I'm good over here when it comes to notifications. I'm trying to do better with it. I really do appreciate your donation. Thank you. So when it comes down to, now this is a conversation or a point that people may hint towards when they say those points, they don't realize it. Even though I feel like sometimes, a lot of times they do realize it, but they just don't want to actually acknowledge it. No shade, but that's a whole different conversation. Is that when people are streetwalkers or working prostitution, a lot of the times those conversations or those talking points, when you get down to the surface, what you're essentially saying is that just because you look that way, you deserve it. You deserve to let it happen to you. And it doesn't make any sense because it does not matter what somebody, man or woman, looks like. If the person was going to do it, they were going to do it. Just because of, quote unquote, here come another triggering language, because it's a power dynamic. That's the reason why when it comes down to sexual assault within the jail system, hear me now, when it comes to sexual assault within the jail system, it's not about sexual orientation. It's about what? Power. To dominate. To take something from you that can't be taken from off your body. To take your spirit away. To take your pride away. To take your confidence away. So that's the reason why when people get into those specific conversations, it's really but that's the reason why when we get in those conversations, I want people to go down the rabbit hole. Why do you feel like this? Even though I know for a fact, Ms. Barbara, she's not gonna get it. This is no shade. She's not gonna get it. That's just, it is what it is. But however, I also know that there may be people who may have that certain idea. They may not even have an ill intent. They probably just think, okay, because they may not be fully informed on everything. And so I wanted to make sure that I said something just so to make sure, let's go down that rabbit hole and see how much sense does it make. So people who's watching this, that just might think like you can be like, okay, you know what? That doesn't even make any sense. You know what? He made a good point. Because at that point, if you heard the dialogue and you still willfully, and I'm going to keep you willfully didn't change your mind after that conversation, then after that point, that's your fault. That's your fault. So that's the reason why when it comes to these conversations, it has to be very sensitive. Very sensitive. Because also, just like in the mental health conversation, people are listening. And this is the reason why sexual assault, domestic violence, mental health, and keep in mind, y'all, all three of these things have recently been in the media. Domestic violence, Megan Thee Stallion, Tory. If you take it for face value, Megan Thee Stallion, Tory, well, on the from the outside looking in from Tory and Megan, if you take that story, domestic violence. When it comes down to sexual assault, Kehlani. When it comes down to mental health, DJ Twitch. All three of those conversations have to be taken with grace and mercy, and also with a very triggering word that a lot of people do not have. They may think they have it, but they don't have, which is empathy. So that's really all I have to say about that. Let me see, baby. Let me see what you guys are saying. Now, why do people blame? Because the thing about it is that, like with all language, all language is also different language is attached to different power systems. So the thing is that when it comes down to those power systems, the same way there's explicit ways of showcasing certain behavior, there's also microaggressive ways of showcasing that behavior. Same exact way. There's explicit ways of verbalizing certain things, certain power system, and there's also microaggressive ways to verbalize those power systems. That goes the exact same way. So when it comes down to blaming victims, if you go down that rabbit hole, and this is why the philosophy, which is what you think, this is what I always, where the mind goes, the body's going to follow. The philosophy, when you actually start to break down the language as in, okay, so why do you feel like this? Why are you saying this? What do you think that comes from? It's going to lead somewhere. I think it's the philosophy. No shade. And this is the reason why when I say that, and like, if you're under the system and you know that there are queer people that hate themselves, there are melanated communities that carry anti-blackness, there are women that internalize misogyny. If you think that those things can exist within the very own community that's affected and also being oppressed by those power systems, what makes you think there's not other people outside of those systems that also benefit from those systems in a conscious or subconscious way? Don't believe those things too. But I think once you're actually made known, once you're actually made aware of those things, then I think at that point, that's when it's your fault. Because at that point, you're being willful about it, willfully ignorant. So that's really all I have to say when it comes down to that. Oh, Jesus. So I'm gonna be honest, that's all I got to say when it comes down to that. Now, tonight I was going to talk about the Megan Thee Stallion and the Tory Lanez thing situation. Should I come back and talk about that? Y'all let me know. Yes, no, maybe so. Put a Y in the chat. Yes in the chat. N in the chat. No in the chat. Should I come back and talk about that? And I think for that, I'm actually going to open the panel. Because I needs to know. Why not? Okay, I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to read an article, give my little things, and then we're going to talk about it. Yes. Okay, so we're going to talk about it. So that is it for my YouTube video for today, guys. Please make sure you guys pop that like button. Hit the subscribe button. And please smack that notification bell so do not miss any of my posts from me. But I do want to make sure I also let this be known as well. Thank you guys so very much for all my Cash App donations. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. I had fun. It feels really good to really be on my own platform again and actually talking about certain things and actually being in a space where I'm actually not arguing or debating with people 24 hours. That's really another reason why I'm like, you guys sure y'all want me to come today? Because girl, I'm not gonna lie. Now I understand why people who was actually at the case and stuff is like, okay, I need some time to rest because baby, it can be mentally draining. But I'm actually gonna talk about it. But however, with that being said, thank you guys so very much. Until next time, guys, I will see you guys later. Deuces!